Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation. This is Elizabeth Williams, and I'm joined by Josh Castleberry. We're both with Central Carolina Technical College in Sumter. And we wanted just to share with you a new initiative the college has for high school students to put them on a pathway from being a student to a water and wastewater operator. As you all know, there are some workforce issues that we're facing, including the aging of South Carolina operators. Currently, the age is approximately 59 to 60, so it's going to be imperative in the next few years to make sure that we're able to recruit in younger operators and get out to the high schools to educate the students about the water and wastewater industry. So we're going to touch on things that Central Carolina has been doing the last few years and how we're going to take these programs into the next generation of operators and help recruit them into the field. So Josh is going to talk to you about what we're currently doing with our operator certificates and how we're going to incorporate that into a dual enrollment program.
Well, good day. What we're talking about again, as Elizabeth mentioned, is how we as a college have been working to help the operators of the state. And we've done that with operator certificates, and hopefully we're going to be doing that with dual enrollment soon. Central Carolina's operator certificates count toward 1 year of work experience, such that an operator at the D level, under normal circumstances, could work for a year, take a test, and test up to the C level. If while working that year they also take the certificate, it's sort of a 2-for-1, and they could count 1 year of work experience plus 1 year of educational experience to get 2 years of experience and jump that C. Of course, they've got to pass the test, but they could go all the way to the B in terms of time. We recognize that our students are all over the state and that they work a lot of different shifts and that it's difficult for most of them to get to school at all. And so we created this online format which makes it more accessible. We're getting them the same information, but we're making it more accessible for them. Not easier, just more accessible. When we set out to do this, we made sure that we based it on the ABC need-to-know criteria so that the students would have what they needed to pass the exams. It's designed, of course, specifically for operators. And an added benefit is that there are 6 classes in this certificate, and you'll see that in a moment. And all 6 of those classes, 18 credit hours, will transfer into our associate degree, Associate in Applied Science with a major in Environmental Engineering Technology. So that puts the student 18 credit hours closer to that degree. Here at the college, we have done dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is the opportunity for high school students to take college courses and high school courses at the same time. So while they are still in high school, they are taking college courses. Those college courses will count as high school credit for their graduation, but also, because their college courses count toward college. Now, as I said, we've done this in the college for quite some time, but what we are looking to do now is do this with the certificate, so the students will be able to get high school credit for the certificates. So what's going to happen is the high school juniors or high school seniors are going to be able to select either the water treatment operator certificate or the wastewater treatment operator certificate, and we'll break those down in just a minute. And because this is the exact same thing that we were talking about before, these are offered online. It's going to offer a lot of flexibility to our high school students, just like it offers the flexibility to our wastewater operators. We're going to be starting this fall, August 2013. Lottery tuition assistance is available to eligible students. And I've had to check myself several times on this because this question is probably going to come up. Will this affect the students' lottery tuition once they have graduated? And the answer is no. This comes from a different pot of money. So if the student is eligible for lottery tuition, they can get lottery tuition while they're still in high school, and it will not affect them later on when they go on, after they graduate. Now, we are so dedicated to this particular program at the college that Central Carolina Technical College will waive any remaining tuition after lottery funds are applied. Lottery funds usually pay about 65% of tuition. We will waive the remaining tuition. The student will have to pay nothing in tuition for qualified students, and that means public school students in the state of South Carolina. And this is a certificate that we talked about. This is the certificate as it exists now, and it's how the students in the high school are going to be able to see it. So the students choose either a water certificate or wastewater certificate. Either way, they're going to have to take intro to treatment facilities, which gives them a big bird's eye view of how the whole system works, industrial safety emergency response, hazardous waste, and introduction to environmental compliance, so they get that legal background. Then those students who are taking the water certificate will take basic water distribution and basic water treatment, and those taking the wastewater certificate will take basic biological wastewater and basic physical chemical wastewater. So the goals of this new dual enrollment program, this thing that we're starting right now, is to allow high school students the opportunity to enroll in college credit courses. Now that's the same for every dual enrollment program, whether it's in Central Carolina or somewhere else. What makes this special is that we're also going to educate high school students about the water and the wastewater industry, because this industry is much maligned and there's not a whole lot known about it outside of the people who actually do it. And we're going to try to change that by educating the broader public. And hopefully in the long run, as Elizabeth will talk about in a moment, we want to develop a new generation of operators so that this generation retires, we have good people coming in to protect our water systems. So what can you do? I'm going to need your help identifying students who would benefit from the dual enrollment program. Nieces, nephews, children, kids that go to church or otherwise in the community that you know may be interested in this program, that it may benefit them. I need your help identifying those students. Encourage your operators, your current operators, to promote the dual enrollment program, because just like you've got friends and family who may benefit from this, they would have friends and family. And between the group of you, we might be able to get everybody who could benefit from this program. Provide tours of your facility to potential students, because, if you tell a high school student wastewater treatment plant, they're going to say, ew. But if you actually show them how interesting it is and how good the daily work there is, they might actually take more of an interest in it. And then once the student is actually enrolled, they're going to need somebody to mentor them through the process, so that when I talk about a centrifugal pump in lecture, they could actually go and maybe see one taken apart. And that would add a new element to their education. And now Elizabeth will talk about registered apprenticeships and youth apprenticeships.
Okay, as Josh mentioned, the operator certificates and the dual enrollment programs, these are things that Central Carolina is going to do this fall. They're set in place. We're going to offer them, although we do need your help to help recruit these students. This next component of what we want to add on to this experience for these students, we really need the utilities and the municipalities to step up and to help us with this part. As some of you know, we've been doing registered apprenticeship programs in the state for a few years, and we're going to build on that and develop youth apprenticeship programs for these high school students. Apprenticeship programs in the state, we're very fortunate in South Carolina that we have the Apprenticeship Carolina organization. They're based out of the South Carolina Technical College system, and they work with business and industries and utilities to set up registered apprenticeship programs with the U.S. Department of Labor. An apprenticeship program is exactly what you think apprenticeship is. Traditionally it's thought of for advanced manufacturing industry, that sort of thing, a journeyman type job. But really any occupation that requires a skill can be apprenticed. And certainly being a water and wastewater operator requires skills. There's 3 components. I'm going to talk about these in a little more detail, but they include on-the-job training, job-related education, and a wage progression. Apprenticeship programs can be used for new employees or their incumbent workforce. They can incorporate the ABC need to know criteria, which we highly recommend because that's what operators are going to be tested on, and it can be competency based. And currently in the state, we have a handful of utilities that have registered apprenticeship programs, including Charleston Water, Spartanburg Water, the City of Columbia, Berkeley County Water and Sewer, and then there's 3 industries in the upstate that use wastewater apprenticeships for their employees also. So a youth apprenticeship is a very rigorous program for a high school student that combines the job-related education and on-the-job learning. And basically, it's an opportunity for a student to experience a career while they're still in high school. These apprentices will be working, and we do want to stress that we want them to gain that hands-on experience. And although they will not have a trainee permit because the state currently does not permit that, they still have the opportunities where they can do certain things, work for that utility and give back to them, but at the same time learn about the industry and the day-to-day operations of a water and wastewater facility. So Central Carolina has set up a pathway or a water apprenticeship for youth. And basically this is combining the dual enrollment program that Josh was talking about and rolling into the youth apprenticeship piece through the Department of Labor. So just to go through what this will look like for all the players, obviously the high school student, they'll need to enroll in Central Carolina's operator certificate in either the water or the wastewater program. They will be registered as a plant operator youth apprentice with the Department of Labor. They'll work at a local utility for hands-on experience. You know, the hours for these individuals are going to vary. It could be afternoons, weekends, summer break, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, this is going to set them on that path to obtain a license. So when they do graduate and they turn 18, they can get that trainee permit, they know what to expect, and then hopefully become a licensed operator. What the utility will have to do is pay the student for the work that they do. And I'll go into that detail in just a moment. They'll also need to identify the student with a mentor and be responsible for the on-the-job training and learning that the student will experience. And the utility will also need to evaluate the student's competencies, and I'll show you a slide of those in just a moment to give you an example. Now, this apprenticeship program is going to be registered through the South Carolina Environmental Training Center at Central Carolina and will be the official sponsor. Because of that, we will be able to cover the student's insurance. And I know that's a big concern with utilities about having high school students on site doing work, is to make sure that their insurance is covered, and Central Carolina can do that. We'll also be responsible for the job-related education, and we'll work with the students and the utilities throughout the life of the program to make sure that everything runs smoothly and to answer any questions that you may have. So I mentioned a youth apprenticeship, or any apprenticeship, has 3 components, including on-the-job training, job-related education, and that wage progression. The on-the-job training piece, again, a mentor will need to be designated to work with the youth apprentice, and to help them complete the on-the-job component, the youth apprentice will be required to learn basic competencies in either water or wastewater. And the training center has already set up these competencies within the youth apprenticeship program, and they're based on the ABC need to know criteria. We did this for a few reasons. Obviously, each utility is unique and specific to what you do, but when they're tested, they're going to be tested on all systems. And so we wanted to make sure that the competencies and the criteria we set in place would cover that, so they would be better prepared when they take the state exams. This is just an example of what the checklist would look like. Again, this is just a snapshot, and this came straight out of the ABC need to know criteria. And basically the mentor will work with that youth apprentice, and once they become competent or proficient in these areas, the mentor just checks that off and dates it. It's as simple as that. And again, we've already outlined all these for water and wastewater, and we'll be happy to share that with you. So for job-related education, the student again enrolls in our dual enrollment program for water or wastewater. They'll earn 18 college credit hours, and they'll have up to 2 years to complete the courses prior to their high school graduation. So the wage progression, and I know this is what a lot of y'all been wanting to hear about. Basically, they'll start at the minimum wage or the starting wage of $7.25 an hour. They'll be responsible, the youth apprentice, to meet certain big benchmarks before they receive a pay increase at $7.50 an hour. So the first set of benchmarks are to obtain the basic knowledge of all the required competency from that checklist that I showed you earlier, and to complete the fall and spring semester education. Once they've done that and they've demonstrated that they've gained these new skills and competencies and they've put forth that effort with the education, they'll be rewarded with the 25 cent an hour increase. Before they can earn their Department of Labor credentials, they'll have to finish the benchmarks, which include being proficient in all the competencies and completing the educational requirement, which in this case is the online certificate. So our goals for this Pathway program is to educate high school students about the industry and recruit the students into the Youth Apprenticeship Program. It's going to provide the students a real-world experience. It also provides the operators or the mentors the opportunity to transfer the institutional knowledge that they've gained over the years about that facility. It also builds a positive relationship between the utility and the community by getting out and reaching out to these high school students and providing them with the opportunity to work with them. And bottom line, we're developing a new generation of operators. And that's what we need to do, is to make sure that we're able to get out there and bring in these young people and educate them about the industry so they'll be there in the future to be our operators. So what can you do? Very similar to what Josh was talking about with the Dual Enrollment Program, we need you to identify students who would benefit from the Youth Apprenticeship Program. Again, this is family members, friends, kids in the youth group at your church, and also to educate your operators to promote the program in the same way. They have a large network of people they know also. So, Josh and I can get to only so many high school students a year or to visit so many high schools. So we really need help recruiting those individuals. Offer tours to promote your facility, which many of you already do that. And then agree to hire one of these youth apprentices. And we understand that sometimes you have to have your board or your city or your county to approve that. And we will be happy to come out and speak with them and explain the process. But, you all know the need you have to recruit these operators in. And, this is the time to do it. And this is a very structured and deliberate approach to help to do that. So this, slide just demonstrates the program that we have here at Central Carolina, and starting with high school students up at the top, and we're breaking that into two components with the youth apprenticeship, which gives them the utility experience, the hands-on experience, and then the Central Carolina Dual Enrollment Program, which earns them the college certificate. They eventually get the U.S. Department of Labor credential. And then at the end of the day, we're getting these new operators that we keep talking about that we need. And again, it's a very structured approach to make them a well-rounded operator. So what the students get out of this is a clear path for these high school graduates into the water and wastewater industry. They earn a certificate. They can take that after they graduate high school, and they could even continue into the Environmental Associate Degree Program at Central Carolina. It just puts them on that pathway to being educated about the industry. They can earn their Department of Labor credential through their Youth Apprenticeship Program. They're building that working relationship or the networking with their local utility, and it's putting them on that path to obtain a license. For the utility, obviously you're recruiting in younger operators. Their focus, their training and their education is focused on the ABC criteria. You're building that loyalty and employee retention, the long-term relationship with these individuals to keep them, in your area working as an operator. You're also giving your current operators the opportunity to mentor these young people and transfer that institutional knowledge that they have. and you're building a credentialed workforce. They're going to come out of this program with a college certificate and a Department of Labor credential. So we started this whole presentation on our workforce issues of aging of South Carolina operators and recruiting in younger operators and getting out to high schools and educating the students about the industry. And we feel here at Central Carolina that we've set forth a path for these young people to gain education and to gain hands-on experience by being a youth apprentice to really address some of these workforce issues for the future. Obviously, it's not the 100% cure for these issues, but it is one tool that we can use to, kind of chip away at these problems we're having for the future. So just, to recap, we really need you to identify these students for dual enrollment and consider family members again and friends. And then also to support the Youth Apprenticeship Program, which does include meeting that minimum wage requirement, identifying the mentor for the students, and to train the students to meet the apprenticeship competencies. We appreciate the time that you've taken to listen to our presentation. This is my contact information and Josh's. We'd be happy to answer any questions. We realize this is a lot of information we've given out. Again, we'll be happy to come to your facility and sit down and talk with you if we need to speak with your city or county government to explain to them the importance of this and how the wage progression and the insurance come into play. We'll be happy to do that. But again, thank you, and please let us know if you have any questions.